It's the IdahoSports.com 2023 State Volleyball Tournament Preview Special. Brandon Baney with Lynnsie, Togiai-Ah, Fook breaking down the brackets. We are at Idaho's smallest classification, Class 1A D2. This state tournament will be played at Lewiston High School in Lewiston. Now, before we get any further, for those that may not know, Lynnsie, of course, an accomplished player. She played for Century High School in Pocatello and part of that great dynasty of teams under Pauline Theros, who's now the athletic director at Idaho State University. Then she went on to play collegiately in Montana, and then has since been really helping the next wave of players, coaching club volleyball, but also being an assistant coach at Rockland High School during the high school season. So Rockland's a team we're going to see on the bracket, but I think people that know that there's no bias in your analysis. You break it down evenly and fairly.
Yes. Well, I would hope so. I mean, when it comes to volleyball, I can see things pretty clearly. As far as teams go, again, we just want to better the game. So we just want that for all players. So
yes, and for Rockland specifically, it was a little bit of a different journey to state than it's been the past couple of years, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But first, here's a look at the bracket. Again, this is the 1A D2 tournament at Lewiston High School. Horseshoe Bend, your number one seed. Not a huge surprise. They have been kind of along with Troy and Skyview. Those have kind of been the three teams in Idaho volleyball that have just been dominant the last couple of years. Yes. And so Horseshoe Bend is your one seed. They'll play Deary, the number 8 seed. The number 4 and 5 up above is Mackey and Rockland. I just noticed we're missing the K in Mackey. We better fix that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No. Sorry about that, Miners Nation. But that's two district rivals going at it right away, Mackey and Rockland in the 4 and 5. And then on the bottom half of the bracket, we have Grace Lutheran, the 2 seed, Dietrich, the 7 seed. And then our 3 versus 6 matchup is Council and Kendrick. All right. First thing that jumps out to you when you look at this bracket, Lynnsie.
There's 3 teams from our district. I'm just kidding.
I think that's totally legit. That was a really good district this year.
I think it's tough, but it's also the first time that we've gotten the 2.5. So, I mean, that made a huge difference. But there's the sad part of it is, I mean, there's other teams who were up there in the rankings above some of those teams who did win their district and make it. So again, it's hard. We have a 9-team district, and 5, 6 of those teams are good competition.
Yes. So Grace Lutheran, Mackey, Rockland, that was your 1, 2, 3 at districts. And then, but outside of that, Ledore the past couple of years has been really tough. Water Springs was really good this year. Taylor's Crossing even went on a little bit of a mini run at the district tournament. So there was a lot of good volleyball this year over in East Idaho. And like you said, I'm so glad that it became not a 2-bid league anymore, but a 2.5, because the past couple of years we've talked about, man, there's a really good team from this district that never has a chance to compete to get to state. Now, Rockland has been the team that's been winning districts the last couple of years. So it's been an interesting journey to take third and have to go play a play-in match. You guys had to play Clark Fork, the district champions from District 1, the Wampus Cats. How about that nickname?
I know. And did you know there's only 2 schools in the nation that have that imaginary animal?
No.
Our other coach told me that. I was like, I had no idea. And the other school's in Louisiana, by the way. So totally out there. I was like, what? I don't even know what that is. Anyways, well, I do now, but I didn't.
Yes.
You have to go play them. I mean, it's tough, like you mentioned before. You win your district, and then you still not quite in it. But then at the same time, you have such good competition in one district that, if you go and compete against them, but they end up winning, then it just shows who should go at that point. You know what I mean? So it's all tough.
It is. It's tough with 8 teams. I've heard people say like, why don't we go to 12? And that's another talk for another day. But yes. when it's 8 teams, it is. It's really hard. I think the big story here is Grace Lutheran making state for the first time in school history, which is so awesome. Full disclosure, I used to live in Pocatello and I lived right by Grace Lutheran. So I got to know everybody there really well. They're an awesome group of teachers and coaches and kids over there at Grace Lutheran. And I'm so excited to see them at state for the first time. They went undefeated in the regular season. And then of course they went undefeated at districts. They have not lost this year, Lynnsie, and they're doing it with 7 players.
Yes. So I'm glad you're familiar, because I'm familiar too, because a lot of them play for our club and we've coached them. So, like you said, really great, awesome people, support. They have fan base as far as that goes. They really come together as a community, for that smaller school. They've just been working at it. They have 3 freshmen, on there as well, and it just keeps and they all play because they all have to, because they only have 7. But as far as that goes, I think they've done a really good job of coming together, bringing those freshmen up with them, up with those juniors who lead that team and senior, and they found a rhythm that they want to continue. They've been on this ride where it's been a lot of fun and full of momentum and emotion. So with it being their first time at state, they got to attack it with the same thing, though. You got to, just like as bad as you wanted to win your district, it's got to show here.
Yeah, and they got a tough draw in the bracket. If we look at this, Lynnsie, it's a 2, a 3, a 6, and a 7, but all 4 of those teams, Grace Lutheran, Dietrich, Council, and Kendrick, they were all district champions. So that is a really loaded bottom half of the bracket. Whoever survives out of that to play is going to be really battle tested, especially in that 3 versus 6 matchup. I feel like Council and Kendrick, and I guess Council was not a district champ. They lost to Horseshoe Bend. I just think that they are, because if Horseshoe Bend wasn't in the district, Council would win this every year. But Council and Kendrick, that 3 versus 6 is a really intriguing matchup to me as well. Is this year Council finally breaks through and eclipses Horseshoe Bend?
I don't think so. And that's not to take away from anything, but it's just to say, as far as I've seen, I think you said it about another division, I don't remember, but it's Horseshoe Bend's tournament to lose. As far as like consistency goes and experience and seniors and all of it.
Yes.
It's theirs to lose. So they have it, in my mind. They just got to show up and do it.
Yeah. So when we talk about Horseshoe Bend and, how good was Horseshoe Bend? Well, last year, the CUNA Classic to start the season and beat Boise, a 5A school. So they beat Boise High. So, and they're consistently playing 3As, 4As in tournaments and winning. So this is an historically great Horseshoe Bend team. So it's going to be tough for anybody else to break through, but that battle for second and third, I think, is going to be really intriguing. And there's a lot of really good teams lined up. And honestly, I would say any of the 7 others could come home with a trophy.
I agree with you there. I think that, it's, again, you got a lot of similarities going on. You got a lot of competition that has similar schemes, and they've played each other a lot. It's going to be tight. Again, I've said that a million times tonight, but I think truly, there's one team that kind of stands out, but then as far as the rest goes, or who could compete with that team, it's tight.
Yes. Okay. So give me a dark horse, not Horseshoe Bend, that could be competing for a top 4 finish.
Okay. Ooh.
It's hard because it could be any of them.
Right. I'm going to go with Kendrick, though.
Okay.
I think they're better than they were last year. They've kind of found some rhythm as far as team dynamic and just the game of volleyball in general. They look more disciplined, and that'll go a long way. So, with good athletes, you just you got to stay disciplined.
For sure. And my dark horse, all my Grace Lutheran friends are gonna hate me. I think it's Dietrich. I think Dietrich as the 7 seed is I really do, because they come from a district with Richfield, and Richfield is a very strong team. And I know a lot of those girls play club volleyball and
Yes,
in the off season. And so if you're good enough to knock out Richfield and get to state, I don't
sure.
care if you're a 7 seed. You must be legit. And so Dietrich is the team I'm keeping my eye on.
That's true. And they played tight with them all match, and we faced them as well and had a tight match. So I think that's a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch, though. Let's take a look at our 1A D2 players to watch. We chose one player from each squad. Again, not an end-all be-all list, just a starting point to get the conversation rolling. Here's what we came up with. Hope Zolman from Council, Kennedy Kirk from Deary, who can really fill it up on the basketball court as well, Sage Hubert from Dietrich, Kirsten Kraus from Grace Lutheran, Anna Lee Wilson from Horseshoe Bend, just gets everything at the net, Haley Taylor from Kendrick, Cadence Seafried from Mackey, and Callan Perman from Rockland. Who are you most excited to see compete here, Lynnsie?
Oh boy. Oh yeah, that's really tough. Well, okay, so I knew a lot of these players in other divisions too, but this one, I mean, obviously I know all of them.
Right.
But let's see. I'm gonna go with Hope Zolman and Council's other players to watch as well. You don't get to see them as much until state, although I know from seeing them last year. But I think that we've watched some film on them. She's doing great things for them as far as controlling the net and being the lead kill. She's been good for them.
Yep, and I'm most excited to see Kennedy Kirk from Deary. She's a great athlete. I'm intrigued to see how she does against these taller, imposing Horseshoe Bend players right out of the gate. But yeah, Kennedy Kirk from Deary is and again, all these girls are outstanding. We just picked one to highlight for the purpose of discussing on a show. That's all it is. So. Okay, well, here is the discussion point then. I think we both like Horseshoe Bend to win the championship, but what is your championship matchup prediction? Who does Horseshoe Bend play? And like I said, it really wouldn't surprise me if it's any of the other 7 teams that are playing on Saturday morning.
Right. And I think I'm just going to go with a championship winner. I'm not going to say who's in the championship.
Okay. I can respect that because you're coaching and you're involved in it. I will say, I'll give you a top 3 then. I'll go one further. Okay. I'll go Horseshoe Bend as your champs. I think they play Council in the championship, 2 district rivals going at it. They played each other a billion times over the years.
Right.
And I do think Grace Lutheran finds a way to take 3rd. So that's my official prediction. And again, if I'm wrong about any of it, love to come back. Rockland fans, I would love to come back and wear it if I'm wrong.
Right? I mean, everyone has their opportunity, so here we go.
That's right. I'll gladly provide the bulletin board material for everybody else. So, all right. Well, Lynnsie, thank you for breaking down the 1A D2 bracket for us, but thank you for all the hard work you did throughout the season for us, writing Keeping Up with the Kill every week on IdahoSports.com and doing our big season preview all the way back at the start of the season. It felt like we did that last week, but here we are now at state tournament time.
So sad, but thank you for having me, and good luck, girls and coaches and everybody. It's going to be an exciting week. So.
Should be a lot of fun. So again, 1A D2 state volleyball tournament taking place at Lewiston High School this Friday and Saturday. Good luck to all the girls that are competing this weekend at state volleyball. And of course, stay tuned to IdahoSports.com for all of the updated scores and brackets and matchups. We will be cranking them out for you on Friday and Saturday as state volleyball is off and running. All right. For Lynnsie, Togiai-Ah, Fook, I'm Brandon Baney. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, on IdahoSports.com.